Hey guys, what's up? Namaskara Bangalore, Unisamachara, Vadakam. Why I'm saying Vadakam? Because we have got Rajanikanth with us. Yes, you're listening it right. We have got Rajanikanth with us. But he's Rajanikanth and it's a superpower name, but he has a superpower in leadership skills, people management, behavioral training, and 18-year experience, guys. 18-year experience, that damn serious experience. But name is very hard name, man. Rajnikanth. Yes. Hey guys, so let's have Rajnikanth with us.
Hi, Hamid.
Hi, Mr. Rajnikanth. You look very handsome according to your name, Rajnikanth.
Thank you. Thank you.
So first question, I think you have heard this question a lot. Why your name is Rajnikanth?
It's a very interesting question because whenever I do leadership programs, this is my first question everybody asks. Okay, why is your name Rajanikanth?
Right.
And this is my original name, Rajanikanth, from the time of my birth. So my father liked this name very much, and he thought that there's some magnetic power in this name.
It is.
And probably he also thought that his son also would be one day like that Rajanikanth, a superstar in the field of leadership programs, probably. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. And guys, Rajnikanth hold a lot of international certificate, national certificate, for example, NLP from NLP Institute and TTT for OMI and Corporate Ed Group from Boston, US. And apart from this, there is a full list of that. So, you have hold so many international certificates.
Yeah.
Do you think that it is important to go for international certificate or this kind of certificate to be a great leadership trainer?
See, certifications definitely probably could be a value add. It is like sharpening the axe, but more than that, something I think there should be something coming within.
Right.
As your company's name, I think the passion drives everything.
Passion drives everything.
Yes,
True.
I think, and all these are like toppings on top of the passion.
True.
So since I was always passionate about leadership programs, so I did a lot of certifications just to enhance my skills and sharpen. So it helps, but it is definitely not the only criteria.
Very true. And as you mentioned, passion. So you discover your passion for leadership training and helping people to develop themselves.
Yeah.
But what was that point when you know that, okay, this is my cup of tea and this is what I want to do it?
Yeah.
How you discover your passion for this?
Yes, I think that's a very interesting question. So I'm an engineer by background.
Right.
So I got placed in a company called Satyam Computers after my engineering. But I always thought that I would have become a professor in a college if I had not got placed. Sometimes you don't know why you're getting a job because you never discover passion at that early stage. Teaching was always my interest for a long time. Then I was into a technical career, worked with companies like Satyam Computers, SAP Labs, and many other companies. And after a point of time, I always found that I'm more close to people than technology. So I took a people management career path when I was at SAP for quite some time. And then really understood that I was able to make a difference to people's lives in terms of helping them grow from a low performance to high performance, ability to change their thought process, bringing their engagement high. So I thought my passion for helping people and my interest for teaching put together was very clearly this leadership space. So I thought if I want to really touch many people, I can't be with the 4 boundaries. So that's why I just jumped out.
Wonderful. So inside a 4 boundary, we have family members, friends, relatives, and you jump out from those 4 boundaries. But that 4 boundaries members, how supportive they were at that time when you told them, okay, I'm going to leave my job, which is a comfort zone for you, to getting a highly paid salary and to move into an uncomfortable zone of entrepreneur journey and leadership trainer, which is not paying you equal amount of money, which was your comfortable zone. So what was their support at that time and how tough it was this journey to move from a comfortable zone to an uncomfortable zone?
Yes. So initially it was a little difficult because when everything is going good, why do you want to really change some things?
Right.
And I think for any entrepreneur, family is the biggest strength, and that's the same for me as well. So my wife was supportive from the beginning in terms of what my vision was. My mother was greatly supportive. So I think both the important stakeholders' expectations was met, and we also planned that once I jump into an entrepreneurship career for the next 1 to 1.5 years, we should be still able to run without any challenges, even though I'm able to make it or not able to make it. So planning was a big aspect which we did much before I actually jumped into it. So it was not a blind jump, but there was about 1.5 years, 2 years planning before I actually jumped into this career.
Very true. And guys, if you have any question regarding leadership skills, how to be a great leader, how to control your brain, what you want to achieve, that is also there when it's come to the training as well. Jackson Curry, thank you, and thank you for joining, guys. And as you I also like to tell you that Rajanikanth is also a leadership trainer and chief trainer for WiNNWiN Academy, and WiNNWiN Academy has a very unique name. It's W capital I small N capital then W capital then I small then capital. I want to know this, why it is like this.
Okay, the name, when I thought that I want to enter into this training leadership space, I always found teaching is one of the greatest form of learning, because once you teach, all the thoughts are reinforced back to you. That you learn much better first, and then you get better. On the other hand, you also help somebody else to get better. So especially this training space, intervention space, was always a win-win approach. That you grow strong as a facilitator, teacher, trainer. At the same time, you also help people to grow. So since it was a win-win approach, we thought we will name this company as WiNNWiN, because both of them wins. That's why you'll find two N's in the WiNNWiN.
Wonderful.
Academy.
And you are a chief trainer. You are also a founder for WiNNWiN Leadership Academy. And when you are in a co-founder suit or blazer, or when you are in leadership blazer, how different and challenging it is?
I think very, very challenging. Because always a lot of unexpected things will happen.
Right.
Especially when you're standing in front of people and you're challenging their thought process, which they carry throughout their life, especially with values, belief systems. So a lot of challenges. I think one of the greatest ability of a trainer, which I was consciously developing, is being very vulnerable, which means you also know that you can fail, but all it is important is to really understand why you're failing, correct it, and then move on. So I think once you accept that, okay, being vulnerable is one of the very important trait, I think ability to get over these challenges becomes much more easy.
Very true. And yes, so a leadership blazer is different and a founder blazer is different, guys. And to be in a perfect role, you really need to learn a lot of things. And Rajni sir is having 18 years of experience. How is that journey of 18 year experience, and what is that best moment you can take out from that 18 years experience which is always stay with you?
I was into the corporate career for about 14 years or 13 to 14 years, and into the training space after I became an entrepreneur for the last 4.5 years. I always considered this 4.5 years to be much more valuable than my 14 years. Though those 14 years have definitely given me a lot of learning blocks, but the fulfillment, the experience, the growth, internal growth which I'm experiencing for the last 4.5 years is like very huge and cannot be just explained in a couple of words. So I think entrepreneurship has to be really experienced. I always tell people that it is not a matter of whether being successful or failure. It is a matter of just experiencing that process for 1 or 2 years. So it was a beautiful experience for the last 1.5 years, because every day you get better. And especially with this leadership space and behavioral programs, that you have to really implement everything what you're teaching to others. Otherwise, the authenticity and the credibility will not be built. And when you're consciously implementing that to yourself, I think we also get better as an individual.
Wonderful. I think Rajni sir is doing a great job, making people better in their jobs and making great leaders, because that is what India needs. And he has trained more than 7,500 people and on a various skills topic. I would like to know what was that. I definitely know there are a lot of inspiring story you come across, and what is that one special inspiring story from one of your student that came to you and says, "Sir, आपकी वजह से जिंदगी सर मस्त हो गई अभी."
2 to 3 instances, very, very satisfying. One, I did a program called as 25 hours a day. That's part of my flagship program, where we also talk about how to really develop a habit and how to really leave out a bad habit, for example. And after the class, about 6 months back, I got a call from a student who attended, a participant, and he said that 15 years he was not able to quit smoking, but just by following that particular technique, he was able to quit smoking, and his family is extremely happy. So I think that was more rewarding than the other aspects. So that was one example which has always stayed in my mind. The second example is I did a leadership program for a company for about a series of about 6 months. And after the leadership program, I know one person actually resigned from the company. And I don't know whether it's a positive or a
Positive or
challenge.
negative.
Yeah, but I think when I spoke to him, the most important aspect was he thought that he wanted to really start doing something which was driving him, and that person became an entrepreneur after the particular program. So I internally consider that as a huge success in terms of helping people change a belief. That was my second example. The third example I want to share is after my program, one day I remember one girl actually going back to her father and discussing what all she learned in the program. And her father was about a 65-year-old gentleman, and he was not agreeing to anything what she said. She said, "What is the trainer covering?" And then I remember 9:30 in the night we had a conference call. So me, her father, and that particular person, all three of us in a conference call discussing what all we learned in the program, and it was a beautiful, enriching experiences.
Really great. I mean, definitely when you hear such kind of stories which are real stories, and you change some other person's life, definitely I think as a person you feel great.
Yeah.
And guys, I remember one movie Lucy, which is about something, brain, using your brain capacity. And there was one guy, I don't know the name, he's a very famous actor, and that Lucy asked like, what is the purpose of life? And he told that pass it on, that's the purpose of life, and upgrade yourself. So that is what Rajni sir is doing. We are not as a normal layman, as a normal person, we are doing it only with 1%, 2%, but he has trained more than, given this information and improved more than 7,500 students' life, leaders' life, which is really great, and hats off to him. And he's living up to his name, which is Rajni. So also, it's one of the interesting thing with Rajni sir that recently he was a speaker at SME World Summit in Dubai. That's a great achievement. I totally, first of all, congratulations to you that going at international stage and topic which was given to you, what lies below the iceberg.
Yes. So this was a conference in Dubai holding the world's SME conference, and I represented one of the trainers from India.
Right.
And the important topic was what lies below the iceberg. What lies below the iceberg mainly in terms of when you're recruiting people, do you just see on the top, just a 45-minute interview, is it enough for recruiting people? Or is there something below them which can actually make and stay in an organization for a longer time? So the whole topic was everybody wanted to actually grow in the organization, but how to grow in the organization. So how they can actually contribute more to the organization, how they can actually start taking more responsibilities. So the whole summit was focused on the important aspects of growth element, and my essence was, how you can actually contribute wider and start taking more responsibilities. I think if any person starts contributing wider and starts taking more responsibilities or higher responsibilities, automatically they will start growing in terms of their position, in terms of their money, in terms of their designations.
Wonderful. And how was that experience on an international platform and representing India? I definitely know it feels wow, but representing India at such a stage.
Yeah.
Can you share that experience with us?
I think representing India is always a very, very proud moment, and I think that was one of the highlights for the last year, which I actually traveled around the world. And I think one of the important aspect was there are a lot of people respecting even India as a person in India for their leadership capabilities. So I think since we have a lot of leadership talent, one of my greatest vision is to really groom people in leadership thoughts, like how people consider Japan for quality, German for engineering. I think people should look forward for India for leadership, and that's my biggest vision.
That's amazing. And guys, Rajni sir is also having a passion for developing people. This is very interesting. How to develop people, which is normally our parents do it. माँ बोलते हैं घर पे करते हैं, तू ये करते वो करते ये कर, लेकिन एक direction नहीं होती. But here is a direction, here is an aim for your life, and according to your mindset, according to your personality. So you discover this passion for developing people in terms of their soft skills, leadership skills, and various skills.
Yeah.
But how you discover that passion for helping people out in this?
Yeah. The passion was, I think, was my towards my corporate career, where I was a people manager. So moving people from low performance to high performance,
Right.
increasing their competencies. So I was able to make a lot of changes in terms of the thought process. So all you require is a change of thought, because change of thought will lead to a change of behavior, and change of behavior will lead to a change of action. So all I'm interested is to really create abundance in people's thought process, so that they can change lives.
Right. And guys, amazing. If you want to change your life, we have tagged Rajni's her page, and you can just go there. Arun Giri is watching. Thank you, Arun. And hi, Rajni. Nice to see you. Kiran Shinoy. Hi, thank you, Kiran. And you guys can ask question, guys. I mean, why are you missing this opportunity? We have a great leader and international trainer who trainer also. So why are you missing this opportunity, guys? Please ask question and get to know how you can be a better leader, how you can be a better employee, how you can actually help your organization to move forward. Nice to see you. Great, Rajni. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining. As I told you, Rajni sir has transformed himself to a trainer from Indian trainer to an international trainer. Now he has conducted extensive workshop in India, US, Middle East. Very interesting, guys. I have only met some of the trainer who is conducting workshop in India, but this is first time I'm having that's why his name is Rajni. So
You always have a higher expectation for the name.
correct. So how different it is to train the Indian leaders and the when you're going to the US and you're training the leader from US organization or Middle East organization.
Sure. I think that's a brilliant question.
Mm-hmm.
I'll first talk about what is common,
Right.
and then I'll talk about what is different.
What is different?
What is common is all are people. So the people challenges across the world are very, very similar.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, the communication between the teams, increasing the competency of the people, working with the people together,
Right.
Communication challenges. So the challenges are very, very similar across people, across industries, because I also do a lot of programs across industries as well. So very, very similar challenges, people challenges. But what is different? A lot to play with the culture. I think a program which will work in US, the same program, if it is done in India, it will not work. And the vice versa is also very true. Because the culture and the context becomes a very, very, very important aspect. So what is the difference? I will always say culture plus context. In terms of your examples, in terms of how people can relate to, all becomes a very, very important challenge.
Very true. I think when we talk about the culture, we Indian are very emotional, and I think when we talk about the culture in US, it's very different.
Yeah.
So that's the way, I mean, which you have learned a great thing. But even when we have a US client in the company, we have to do a different kind of research and different mindset we should have it to talk to them. So apart from this, we'll talk about the WiNNWiN flagship program here, guys. And they have a wonderful flagship program with them, which is 25 hours a day, magical presentation lab. Very nice name, magical presentation laboratory. Amazing. Rajni sir ekdam kamal kare, guys. And communicate to win, conflict management, negotiation skills. Yes, it's very much important. Team building. So let's talk about your flagship program, which is in your institute, in your academy. So when it's come to 25 hours a day, just in 2 lines, like what is that 25 hours in a day?
Sure. I think the biggest challenge with behavioral programs is people think it cannot be measured and it cannot be result oriented. So we want to actually as a company change that perspective and make every program as result oriented as possible.
Right.
So one of the program which we do, it's a flagship program. It's called as 25 hours a day. So I'm also writing a book on this topic. This is my audio CD which I've released. So I'm also writing a book on this topic called 25 hours a day. So what do you mean by 25 hours a day? Very simple. At the end of the program, every participant will be able to see at least 1 hour more time physically. Which means people will come into the program saying that I don't have time, but people will go out of the program saying that, oh my God, I'm getting more than 1 hour every day, and they're able to physically see it. So that is the kind of change in this program can bring in.
Definitely. In a day, I mean, Steve Jobs said it's only 24 hours. How do you manage? But Rajni sir is saying, no, I'm Rajni, I'm giving you 1 hour more. So you have to manage 1 hour more now.
Absolutely.
That is amazing. I would like to go for this program. I would like to understand how I can add 1 hour in 24 hours, which looks impossible. But Rajni sir will make it possible, definitely, guys. And let's come to the second program, magical presentation lab.
Yes. See, presentation lab, I do for a lot of senior audiences on presentation skills. And we always feel that presentation is very, very important trait as far as people grow up in the organization very fast.
Right.
So with the skills that they're scaling up in the organization would be much better. So I call this program called as Magical Presentation because I personally always feel that magicians are one of the greatest presenters on earth. So the difference between a trick and a magic depends upon how a magician presents that magic.
Wonderful.
Right? So being interested in magician's way of presenting, I started learning magic. So I'm a part of the Magic Academy of Bangalore for the last 2.5 years. I do a lot of magic in my leadership programs because with that magic you can actually induce a thought which will stay in the people's mind for a longer time. So when we started analyzing the presentation of a magician followed 5 important elements of a great presentation. When we started decoding the magician's way of presenting, then we came on the parallel and then decoded Steve Jobs' presentation. And then we found Steve Jobs also follows the 5 important elements of a great presentation.
Can you let us know what are the 5 elements?
Yes.
Just the names.
Yes.
Then we come to you to learn this.
Sure. So we found the magician's 5 elements and Steve Jobs' 5 elements are exactly overlapping with each other. For example, any magician, if you see opening a magic show, they always start with a high. They open with a high. That's the first element in any great presentation as well. Steve Jobs does the same thing. The second important element of any great presentation is engage the audience. You always see magicians asking one person to come on the stage and then do it. Steve Jobs also does a lot of engaging elements.
True.
The third important element of a great presentation is tell a story. Story captures people, drives thought process. So magician also built a lot of story. Steve Jobs in his presentation also builds a lot of stories. The fourth important element of any great presentation is something called have a surprise element in the presentation. A surprise element. And people cannot expect what next is actually going to happen. A magician also a lot of surprises in the magic. Steve Jobs also brings a lot of surprises in the magic. The last element is how to close with a message. What is that key message you want people to drive home? I think both of them does the same job. So all the 5 elements of a magical presentation.
Wow. A magician, name itself he's living up to his name, guys. Rajani, a magician, a leadership trainer, and a lot more. So let's talk about the third one, communicate to win. Yeah. Now, this is very important. When I remember once a guy was telling me the best rule of communication is think before you speak.
Yeah.
So now here is the program, Communicate to Win. Now, what is that program and how does it help?
I think communication is one of the most complex topics, which we normally take it for granted.
Right.
And especially from this aspect of communication, which we're actually focusing on, is we all know listening is important. We know asking is important. We all wanted to say no. We all wanted to write better. We all want to present better.
Right.
But we do not know how to present. We do not know how to write. We do not know how to say no. We do not know how to listen. So the whole aspect of this communication program is focusing on the how part of communication. How you can give clarity, whether you speak, when you write, or when you present to people. So the entire focus program is focusing on the how part of communication. So this is called Communicate to Win program.
Definitely, and I think the marketing guys definitely need this how and how to communicate. And guys, when it comes to leadership or any person, if it's in marketing and sales, I always believe that person don't buy the product, person buy you. And this is how you present it, how you communicate with the guy. These are skills which is very much important to learn. Now, something is very famous in every office, which is the politics.
Yeah.
So किसी ऑफिस में जाए अरे यार ये बोल रहा अरे यार वो बोल रहा अरे यार ये हो गया. And from here we come to your the fourth topic of conflict management.
Yes.
So that is really important in office if you want to stay in that office for a long time and don't be a part of the politics.
Beautiful. The beautiful aspect of what you brought in conflict. After my program, I will ask always people, do you want to have more conflicts or less conflicts? But after my program, every person goes home and says, I want to have more conflicts. Because the whole aspect of the program is, if you're able to manage conflicts well, conflict can result in innovation, conflict can result in relationship building, conflict can result in creativity. I think for a beautiful example is a husband-wife. I think relationship gets better every time they have a conflict. And I know many CEOs induce something called as creative conflicts, which means whenever there is no conflict in the team, when everything is going fine, they go and artificially induce a conflict. So with the conflict, new ideas come. With the conflict, thought process gets better. With the conflict, relationship gets better. So the whole aspect of the program is talking about don't resolve the conflicts. Can we really manage the conflicts so that everybody can be productive? That's the entire focus of this particular program.
Wonderful. I think this is, I would also like to go and understand this topic, conflict management, because guys, I'm also into corporate from a long time, and I have really faced this challenge, someone telling something, and I have conflict with some person, so how to manage this. And we got a few questions also.
Yeah.
Let's take the question from people. Being a magician, wow, my Saturday learning is done, and that is from Shrikant.
Okay.
What is your Saturday learning, guy? And yes, Mohan Kumar Vasu. Also, I heard high impact presentation. Is something about high impact presentation?
Yes, this magical presentation is nothing but the high impact presentation skills.
Okay, and we have Sweta, Kalyan. Hi Rajni, this is Sweta and Kalyan here. It's a pleasure to see you.
Okay, thank you.
And Arungiri, how has your life changed after becoming an entrepreneur?
Beautiful question. I think the last 4.5 years, nothing could have been better.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best part of the life is after becoming an entrepreneur, because only after becoming an entrepreneur I realized that throughout my career of 15-16 years, every day we spend about 9 and 10 hours, and do we really spend that 9 and 10 hours in a profession which you love or a profession you just want to get away with? Then I thought, oh my god, did I really lose so much of 14-15 years not doing what I want to do? I think the best part of the journey is after becoming an entrepreneur. So again, I will repeat this. I think it's not a matter of success or failure, but the experience which each one of us undergo as an entrepreneur is like immense learning.
Yeah, very true, guys. And I want to add something into this because I heard this somewhere. Survival is not the main key in the life. वो तो अगर आप देखें तो आप चाय की दुकान पर जाएंगे, there will be a dog asking a biscuit from you, and God have managed every single thing for everyone to survive. The main goal is to upgrade yourself, to upgrade your skill, and be a better person and be a better leader.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always like this. Singapore and US, they have anybody coming out of the college will have to serve in an army for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's their mandate.
Right.
Like I think India also should come up with something like that.
Definitely.
Anybody coming from the college or anybody working for some time should take up entrepreneurship for 2 years, and then probably they can decide whether they want to go back or not. I think it will be great value add to every individual.
Absolutely. And guys, I think Bangalore is a great place for entrepreneurs, and there are a lot of startup companies there. So Bangalore is doing great. And I believe that other cities also will do a great job in that. So let's come to the other part, which is negotiation. हमारे किससे करते हैं, सब्जी वाले से करते हैं, चाय वाले से करते हैं, किससे नहीं करते negotiation, guys. So that is very interesting. If the tea guy is selling on 8 rupees, you will say, hey, why it is 8 rupees? Other guy is selling at 6 rupees. So that skill, it's implement every single time, everywhere.
Absolutely. Very, 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 very important key skill.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time, just by asking a question, should I really negotiate? I think the whole problem is solved, because I think many times we just go to a tea shop and negotiate for the 2 rupees, 3 rupees. But is it worth the negotiation? And then probably we miss out many lakhs of rupees when negotiating for a house. So I think every question of should I really negotiate or not itself, I think will solve this problem of negotiation. No.
So guys, come to this workshop and learn all this. Negotiation is a great thing. Now, when it's come to team building, it's also important. You need to have a perfect team to have a great organization with you, and you need to have a team building skills also. Because if you don't believe in your team, if you cannot have belief in your team also, and you can if you have a doubt in your team, yaar ye banda sahi nahi kar raha hai, that team building is not going to happen. Yeah. So according to you, team building, that 2 line which can actually help an organization to move in a different way.
Yeah, I think one of the important aspects of team building, especially from the leadership angle, is to really know your people. And millennials right now are actually bringing up a different perspective. So how people used to manage people about 10 years earlier, and how people will manage 10 years later will be totally different. Mm-hmm. So we're doing another program called Managers Managing Millennials, how you can actually manage these millennials. So from a team building perspective, I think if you're able to understand people, which means everybody has strengths and everybody has challenges, and if you can really help people to work on their strengths than focusing on their challenges, I think a beautiful team is actually built. So yeah, that's my 2 sentences about team building.
That is true, guys, and you have to believe in your team, because until unless you will not believe in your team, they will not be with you. And Also, one thing I'd like to ask you, Rajni, and which is, I always believe in India is a system like 9 to 6. You have working hours, and we have our brain is framed in such a way that we only work for 9 to 6 hours. And I think innovation will not happen in 9 to 6 hours. And what is your view on this?
See, I think the future trend is a lot of flexibility in timings. The future trend is a lot of virtual workspaces than physical location, because we know that very, very challenging to travel and take it outside. I think the future workspace is less of constraints and more of challenges. I think common elements will be given, will be known to everybody. How to really push ourselves and move that space of innovation becomes a very important aspect. And for me, I think a very simple word of innovation is continuous improvement. And every time, if you can just, I know a very beautiful quote which says, if you're able to improve 1% every day, in 10 days we improve 10%, and in 30 days we improve 30%, and in 100 days we would have almost become entirely different than what we thought. So just that 1% improvement will result in considerable innovation. It could be with process, it could be with people, it could be with self. So yeah, that's my, I think, the insight for innovation.
Wow, that's amazing. And I'm really inspired, guys. I'm going to change my 1% from today onward. In the next 100 days, I'll be different person in terms of my skills. And Rajni sir is going to help me, sure. So, we've got a few questions, and let's take the question. Janil Rubin, what leadership style do I need?
What a leadership style do you need? That's a very interesting question. I think it's very difficult to answer in a line what you need, because since I might not know you completely, but I want to give you some little pointers where you can really understand yourself better. So there are a lot of personality assessments to really tell you what your strengths are. A couple of assessments which I can recommend or I suggest would be something called a Strength Finder 2.0 and something called as a DISC profiling. There's another assessment called as MBTI. These assessments can really help us to really find out what we are good at and probably what we have to really get better. And the whole leadership context is applied. Are you managing a team, or are you leading yourself, or in various contexts? So these some of the tools can really help you to first evaluate ourselves, because if you see the building blocks of leadership, the core building block is leading self, which means if I don't understand myself better, definitely I can't build teams. So, yeah.
I think generally you got the right answer, and just go on internet and check this the links which is told by Rajni sir, and just you will become superpower. Okay, so we have other interesting question, but this is very interesting. Hi Rajni, this is from Sweta, and what would you want to tell parents on helping their kids develop key life skills, leadership quality?
Oh, a beautiful question.
Yes, it's a beautiful question.
It's a lovely question. Right. I think first important is to understand that I've seen many parents applying the same style to all their kids, and very important to know that every child is actually different. And two very important principles is the importance which we give to academic. It is also important for the parents to really invest on leadership capabilities, and many of the life skills can be very practical, which can really they help their kids at home as well. I always, when you do a lot of parenting session, the one important thought is children see, children do, which means children see the parents and the children do exactly like the parents. So I think walking the talk becomes a very, very, very important aspect. At the same time, I think more than running for academics, which could be also important, but investing child's capabilities in key leadership traits also becomes extremely important. With that context, I just want to share something. We're also starting something called Little Leaders Academy. Little Leaders Academy is focusing on children to build leadership capabilities. So we are starting from the age group of 10 to 15 years. So this will be like a club going forward, associating with schools, associating with communities, and many other things.
That's super. That's really amazing. And yes, guys. So we'll have this questions ending up here, but we'll start it again because I want to have something different, which is called a rapid fire question.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So starting with your name only. You have a very strong name, Rajanikanth.
Yeah.
If you get an opportunity to play a movie role as a star, what would you do?
movie role as a star meaning?
That means as a hero.
Okay.
Main lead role. Rajanikanth should be in the lead role only.
You asking me if I get an opportunity, what will I do?
No, yes, if you get opportunity, what you will do?
Yeah, right now my focus is definitely not on that. But if I get an opportunity, I will play a role where I can really give a very powerful message which can affect many communities and people.
Wonderful. And what is your favorite destination in India?
Oh,
For vacation.
my favorite destination in India is Jaipur. So we just went to Jaipur, I think, last year. And I think the culture of Jaipur is superb. So I think I would definitely go again to Jaipur once.
Okay, that's right. Jaipur is a beautiful place. Nice guy. Elon Musk or Steve Jobs?
Oh, Steve Jobs, no doubt.
No job. I mean, Steve Jobs guy, no doubt about it. And who's your favorite South Indian actor?
See, having a name Rajanikanth, and if you say any other name, I'm sure the people here would like, Rajanikanth's always my favorite star.
And favorite actress?
Favorite actress?
No, there's no Rajanikanth in that. Okay.
Favorite actress, I think the Bahubali movie I liked very much. So I like the Ramya Krishnan character.
Ramya Krishnan character.
Yeah.
Okay. What is that your favorite quote which you always keep in your mind?
The favorite...
Which gives you the power to move on, always.
Okay, the favorite quote, even written in my office as well as at home, it says, what goes around comes around. So if there are good deeds going around, the good deeds will come across. And if there are not so good deeds, the not so good deeds come as well. And I always believe that when you give more, you get more. And when you get more, you actually give more. So it's like a loop which actually travels. So these two quotes, I also added one more to what you asked, but these have been driving us for a longer time, which means what goes around comes around. If you give more, you get more.
Oh, that's right. Six pack or flat abs?
Flat abs.
Yes, guys. So, and one more question from my side, like fitness. I mean, if you look at big entrepreneurs, big names like Ambani's or Steve Jobs or everyone, they're very fit. And do you think that fitness plays an important role in an entrepreneur journey or in a leader, or to be a very great leader or a successful leader?
I think it is a mandatory aspect to be considered as fitness. And fitness plays a huge role. I know many people who want to do many things, but just because of their health, they are not able to contribute. So fitness is not only for sports people or for film actors. I think fitness plays a very important role in everybody's key life. I think two things to focus on, or we are focusing on: self-fitness and also enabling the fitness for the family. Because if the family is happy, you're happy as well. So very key aspect. So we invest a lot of time on fitness.
Yes, guys, and fitness is very important. Passion Connect is also bringing one workshop for fitness, 15 minutes to fit, and you can be fit at home only, but you need a right guidance. So we just go to passionconnect.in and you will find the workshop is going to happen at a very great place, F45, and instructor is Pawan Raju, who is a 8 certified trainer. So as you know, 15 minutes to fit, be fit and be a great leader. And we'll not end up here. We'll ask Rajni sir the important question: what is your message to leaders?
My message to the leaders: I think leadership is more of top down than bottom up. Which means if I'm a leader, I'm developing myself, I'm helping my people to develop, they will instill the same culture in their teams. But the reverse is not true. Okay, I'm not able to manage my team well, but I'm expecting my team members to be okay, will not be true. So leadership is top down and very simple. The same quote like parents, the leadership also applies. For example, people see, people do. Like how children see, children do. For parents, people see, people do. For team members as well. So leadership is top down, and one of the important aspects of leadership is something called humility, where respecting people, respecting their values, respecting their strengths becomes a very important trait.
That's really amazing, guys. I'm learning a lot here with Rajni sir, and I hope I will become a great leader also very soon. And changing 1% every day, by 100 day I will be 100%. But what happened after 100 day?
What happens after 100 day? Take another one.
Take another one.
Take another one and go for another 1%.
101%. So it's great talking to Mr. Rajanikanth, and as the name is powerful, the person is powerful, and he's very fit and energetic. And guys, if you want to learn a lot of skills about leadership and the people management, the behavioral management, please just go to WiNNWiN Academy, Leadership Academy, because Rajni sir is a great leadership trainer and an international trainer, not just a national trainer. I mean, for India, he has trained abroad and different kind of people, different mindset, different culture. He has seen 18-year experience, minds a lot. It's really, it's a really great experience to be a different person, because these are the skills which I'm trying to apply from last 2-3 years, and I'm a completely changed person. And I'm living a very, stress-free life and enjoying my life every moment.
Superb, absolutely.
So, guys, keep tuning to Passion Connect, and here is Mr. Rajni.
Yeah, I just want to thank Passion Connect as well. I think the kind of initiative you're driving to really help people take up their passion by talking to a lot of people like us. I think it's a great trait to the society. So sincere thanks to Passion Connect and Harmeet for bringing all the beautiful questions. And I very beautifully realized that all your questions are more targeted for people to get inspired and how they can get better. So very well done. I'm very happy and thankful to.
Thank you so much, Rajni sir. And guys, keep getting inspired by mentors like this, by people like Rajni sir, and just stay tuned to Passion Connect. We'll get the mentors like this.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.